The rock
move is a project to build a monument that represents the union of humankind. How to do this? The idea is to produce a compilation CD with music from well-known artists, music that represents the planet. It could be, I don't know, Bono, or music by Sting, or Yo-Yo Ma playing Chinese music, or Leon Gieco. Produce this CD and make every CD have a different serial number and a password. So every CD would be unique, and every CD would represent the person who buys it. So when you get the CD, because you want to take part in the project, you enter the number and password in a website and can engrave your full name and the place you're from on one of the bricks that will be part of this monument. For example, if we were to sell 100 million CDs, that would be 100 million bricks, all of them with a different name on them. This monument wouldn't be standing alone. The idea is to build around it a site that will also represent humankind, a center for the arts and for tourism, open to everyone. The idea is that this site would have a library, museums, art galleries for exhibitions throughout the year, concert halls, theaters for plays and movie theaters, apart with hotels on the outer rim, places where one can eat, and the possibility of having an airport and a port has also been mentioned. In the center of this site would be the monument that all the people who bought the CD, got into internet and placed the unique number and password helped to build. We spoke to architects, and one of the shapes that keeps on appearing and that we are showing as a possibility is the pyramid. We speak of a pyramid built with 100 million bricks, each one with a different name engraved on it. We also spoke of building a pyramid that would have a ramp around it, that one could use to ascend walking and reach one's brick and touch it. Another idea is that this monument would be hollow, and inside it there would be a huge structural sphere that would represent the Earth. It would be an enormous 300-foot tall globe slowly turning on two different axes. It would be covered with LCD screens and be connected to a central computer that would download live satellite images and place them on the screens. So one could stand under this enormous 300-foot tall ball and, for example, let's say, see Argentina go by and then see the Argentine countryside, see Chile, see Brazil, and one could stand all day there and cover the whole world. With this, we want to create what we call the astronaut syndrome. When astronauts fly into space, they do something that we can't do. They put the Earth in perspective. And when they come back, they return with a bit of an elevated conscience, because they come back after seeing the Earth through a window and tell you, you can't see frontiers. We're all traveling on the same stone, so why are we fighting each other? Why do we have barriers and frontiers or passports? So our idea is that the people reach this monument with 100 million bricks, with Americans beside Iraqi people, beside Argentines, beside British, beside people from Belgium and France, and see that we all build this symbol together. What we want is to generate a bit of an elevation of consciousness in people who have been inside this monument and, when outside, realize that we're all very much the same with respect to who we are and what we're doing here. We're all the same, though we have our differences. We're like the bricks, all the same, but with our differences, like the names or the places we come from. The project is divided into 5 stages. Stage 1 is an international architectural bidding. It would be an open bidding to design the monument that doesn't necessarily has to be a pyramid, and the guidelines of how we intend to pursue the construction. A special treatment for the land, a specific treatment for water, a complete integration with nature, humankind, and all the things that really represent human beings, because we are machines that build machines. Stage 2 is a similar bidding among countries. Once we have a maquette or scale model, we would gather officials from interested countries around it and ask them for land, labor, infrastructure and publicity, and in exchange they would be getting and receiving millions of tourists a year. They would generate work locally and would also be the ones to have this site and monument. Stage 3 is all the artistic production part. What we understand is a multinational and global campaign where all this is communicated. Stage 4 has to do with the construction of the site. A 1-year window is opened where, after the communication campaign, people are informed that they can participate, and once the window is closed, the construction begins. And Stage 5, where the Union Foundation, that is the organization behind the project, would begin to work at the site, organizing the income of money and creating a flow of income and outcome of help to a worldwide net of foundations that are already working towards providing a lot of help in the world. We call it the new capitalist altruist system, because we say that you go to the movies in any part of the world, or maybe the theater, or to watch an art exhibition, and you pay, let's say, $10 for a ticket. From those $10, 2 go towards maintaining the theater, 1 pays a salary of the person who sold you the ticket, and 7 get deposited in a bank account of the owner of the place. Our idea is that this percentage remains like this. That's why capitalist system. But it becomes a more altruist system because nobody would be accumulating money from it. The larger percentage would be destined to this worldwide net of foundations to provide help around the world. The idea is that we all participate in the construction of a better future and a space that involves a voice of change and wellness towards the world. In 1998, I was in New York and I began having these recurrent nightmares about airplanes crashing against tall buildings. 1998. In my nightmare, I'm walking down the street in Manhattan and I see an airplane fly over me really low. I feel it is strange and I see it suddenly crash against a very tall building. I run towards it to see if I can save anybody. When I am getting there, another airplane flies over my head and crashes against another tall tower, which starts collapsing on top of me. 2 or 3 days later, I have the same nightmare again. A week later, it repeats again, and for about 2 or 3 months, I keep on having these recurrent nightmares. Because of this, I compose a song called The Walls of Love, which speaks about the walls of love crumbling down and that we should do something about it, rebuild them. So 2 years later, on September 11th, 2001, at 8:45 in the morning, I had to be on a plane flying into JFK. I was working in Mexico, so I was fortunate enough to be needed for a job down in BA. So a day before that, I ended up flying south instead of north. I wake up in BA on September 11th and see my nightmare on TV. As from that moment, I left everything I was doing aside and began to create and put together this movement for a better future. Shift is a band, a rock group that promotes the Rock Move project. It means move, displace yourself from your center and start seeing things in a different way.